Hello and welcome to Animal Magic with Phoenix. So, without any further ado, I am Phoenix, as you might imagine, and I've set up Animal Magic with Phoenix to get the word out about the work I do with the animals. I am first and foremost an animal communicator. I've worked with spirit, as in the human realm, the human spirit realm, of which there's not a lot of difference, for 40 years. I've also worked with animals mixed in with that over all that time. I've done animal healing for a long, long time, using Reiki and using another modality that I've created that connects me really well to the animals and works really well with the animals. It specifically works really well with animals that don't really present as chatterboxes. They are few and far between, let me tell you. It doesn't matter how shy or withdrawn they may have been when they were on the earth plane. When they go to spirit, they're very happy to chat about everything that's gone on in their lives or everything that mattered to them in their lives. Very often they'll talk about things that have happened right from day dot, so when they were still with their animal parents, and they will bring forward things that mattered to them that we might not have always realised mattered to them so much. They always express their love. Animals are so open when it comes to that. They're far less reserved than humans are in that way. And one thing I will say is they always take on more than you ever could believe. I work with animals on the earth plane here. I do communications with them. Those are usually communications that have been asked for regarding behavioural issues, and by that I don't mean aggressive behavioural issues, I mean any behavioural issues. So it can be that we've got an animal that's just not keen on people, or it's not keen on children, or certain things seem to trigger random behaviour out of them. So it can be aggression. But very often that aggression is caused from a deeper emotional problem. It's very rare an animal is just born and they will turn out aggressive. It can often be emotional trauma of some sort, which we may not address or may not have even realised has impacted our animals as much as it actually could have done. It may be, for instance, and this is a hypothetical, and it really is something we hear about a lot. So if they've had a bad experience of somebody on a bike, I don't know in what form, maybe a bike's nearly knocked them over, or maybe they just come at them too fast and they've not had warning and they've been a little bit startled by it. So then in the animal's mind, that is because of the bike. It's not that one particular instance, bikes are evil. So they may develop those kind of emotional responses to absolutely anything that may have happened while they're with you or before you had them. I work a lot with animals that have been through the rescue system, whether that's a rescue as in a sanctuary, or whether we've had them off other families or other people for some reason when somebody hasn't been able to keep them for whatever reason. I find a lot of animals that have been through that situation, and it isn't to say all of them by any means, can very often present in very similar ways to PTSD in humans. So it's all about abandonment, a lot of it, which is exactly how humans respond. If we're abandoned as a child, we tend to be a little bit clingy, and we can think everybody in life's going to abandon us. Well, if you imagine a dog or a cat, or any animal for that matter, has been to a rescue at 8 months because the family can't cope with it, it's not what they thought it was going to be, or 2 years when that animal's bonded with that family, but they've had a baby, or they're moving, or they've got a new job that means you can't keep them. So that animal then goes into a rescue situation. They are absolutely traumatized. There's no easy way of putting that, and it isn't to say that those situations don't arise from a place of it's circumstantial. It's not always that the people don't want them anymore. There are genuine situations where people can't keep them if somebody becomes poorly, particularly if people get to a point in their life where they just can't manage looking after the animals. The animal doesn't see it like that, putting it quite bluntly. All the animal knows is, I've been there, I love them, they're not there anymore. Okay? And these things happen, and it can't be helped. But that animal then needs help to understand that just because you couldn't stay with your past family or loved one, it doesn't mean that it's your fault. It means that circumstances, and if I know those circumstances, I will work with the animal and explain those circumstances in a way that they can understand. But you have come to this new family or new person now, and just because that happened before doesn't mean it's going to happen again. So then it's a case of getting them to relax, but also working with their new parent, okay, or guardian. Because sometimes people expect animals to be grateful and, I've got this new home and I've got this new mum and I'm going to be like I was when I was a puppy or a kitten. It doesn't always work like that, unfortunately. There are emotional issues. And on that note, animals can experience every single emotion that we can experience as well. Obviously we know they feel joy, happiness. We know they get down. We see them when they're a little bit not quite themselves. They suffer grief if somebody goes from their life, be it that they've passed or they've just disappeared for some reason. They can suffer grief. Bereavement, totally and utterly, and that's something I will talk on again, because there are ways we can help with that before that happens, if we know that's likely to happen. They understand empathy better than a lot of humans that I know. And there's stories I can tell you about that, which I will tell you about, particularly about a little Patterdale cross that basically made it his role to look after the old lady next door, but one that couldn't have animals anymore. I get my goosebumps talking about that one. So yeah, there's lots of stories I can tell you, but what I offer is communication sessions. So if it's for an animal on the earth plane, it's usually a case of we've got concerns over why they're either behaving in a certain way, not eating, may seem off in some way, as in an illness situation, or they may just not be settled, or they may have issues with a certain person or a certain situation. What I offer there is, it's usually about a 30-40 minute session with the animal. I ask for a photo. This is done remotely. I can work face to face with the animals, but I find that they're much more open to communication if it's on their terms and when it happens on their terms. So me connecting remotely works really well for that, because I might be, it might be 3 o'clock in the morning and I just happen to be up, and if this animal's up and I look at the picture and they go, yeah, okay, Fee, we'll have a chat now, then that's fine. I can't come knocking on your door at 3 in the morning. Well, I could, but I don't know that you'd appreciate it. So I do that remotely. We have this session. I have a chat with them. I introduce myself. I explain what I do. I explain what I'm there for. I'm there to help them, okay, and to help their parent or guardian. Regarding whatever it might be is the problem. I then do a voice recording report for you, feeding back what the animal said, what I feel may be the problem, what I have done and what I've explained to the animal. They also get an emotional healing session within the time, and sometimes that can cause it to run over my time that I would normally, but that's just added in if the animals need it. I don't charge any more if I go over. I never have with people when I'm doing a private reading, so I'm most definitely not doing it with the animals. If the animal needs me, I'm there. So that's what I offer if it's an animal that's here. I also work with animals in spirit, and that works very much the same as the way I work with people in spirit. So it may be that their owner is, and I know from my heart how awful it is when we lose our babies. I felt like I'd had my right arm cut off when I lost Munchkin. She was very much my baby, and I understand totally how hard that can be. They are our babies. They are family. Not everybody gets that, but believe me, I do. And it may be that you want to know, okay, are they okay? Have they got to Spirit? Have they got to Rainbow Bridge okay? Who are they with? Yeah, have they met up with a previous animal that they may have known or may have been in your family? They may never have met on the earth plane, but believe me, they do tend to connect with animals that are already there from your family. You may want them to give you some information about how they passed, because sometimes, especially if you've had to have an animal euthanized, it can leave this huge guilt of, was it the right thing to do, was it the right time to do it, and sometimes that needs clearing up. Yeah, sometimes we're not entirely sure what took an animal to spirit, and we might want to know a bit more about that. And the animals are usually very, very willing to share these things. They also tend to tell me things that they really like. They might tell me of a place they liked. For instance, if it's a dog, they'll very often show me places where they used to go walking, or they used to, spend happy times. They might tell me about the favourite foods. They might tell me about a toy that they loved, or, something they've really connected to in life that really mattered to them. And sometimes that gives huge reassurance to their parents or guardians here on the earth plane. Again, I'll spend about 30 minutes with the animal. If they decide they want to waffle on for a little bit longer, same again, I'll work with them a little bit longer. And then I will feed that back too. And it can very much help with that pet bereavement feeling. So yeah, I do both of those types of reading. I wanted to tell you here because I get a lot of questions asking about the communications. I hope that's a brief introduction to them. I am always happy to answer questions and to discuss with you whether you think a communication is appropriate for you at the time. Obviously, I do charge for the communications. It is my job. But contact me, yeah, and I can give you an idea of what that charge may be in your situation. I do get animals when I'm working with them here, and it might be about one specific thing, yeah, and it might be a question that just needs one answer. We might not need a whole communication. We might want to know, does a dog, cat, ferret, rat, whatever, feel okay? Do they like this particular food? What would they like? Okay, because animals are very, very picky. I had a cat once that complained it had been given go-cat all of its life, and did the owner not know that they do cat meat with gravy? And that solved a huge problem. So yeah, they have a lot of opinions on lots of things. So if it's a one question thing and that's all you want to know, inbox me, we'll sort something out. It won't need a big long reading, and it will be priced accordingly. And you will find, I guarantee you will find, that my rates are a very, very small fraction of what most animal communicators are charging. And that is because I'm doing it from here. For me, the animals have been my life, all my life. And I want to help, the same as when I work with spirit people. I want to help. I truly believe I've been put here to help people in spirit and the animals, be that in spirit or still here. So give me a shout. Give me a message on here. You can also contact me at animalmagicwithphoenix@google.com. You can get me on my phone number, which is at the top of the page in my little logo. Or get me on WhatsApp on the same number. Any of those means, just send me a message and let's talk. And I can talk to your animals, and I can hopefully help them and you with whatever it is that's going on that needs looking at. So take care. Have a lovely day. It's very hot, very sunny. So keep yourself hydrated, keep your animals hydrated, and enjoy your day.